Welcome back, folks. This is Tommy, Help with Gadgets, and I wanted to do a review of the Spyderco Yojumbo today. This is a rather large knife, um, but it's a very nice knife at the same time. Um, also wanted to show it to begin with the um, this is the Spyderco Yojimbo, and also the Micro Jimbo. So you can kind of see the entire family there together. So you can see these are very similar knives with similar function, different, little bit different on the scale material or scale texture between this one and this one. And then, of course, this one has the satin blade instead of the blacked out blade. But somewhat similar in composition. You can see that with the or build, I should say. You can see that in the disassembly and cleaning video. And I'll try to link that one below. So, all right, let's talk about this knife a little bit. This was a design or a collaboration between Spyderco and I think it was Michael Janisch, who was a you can do a search for him and find out a lot of information about him. But this is quite an interesting knife. And again, let's go ahead and measure that knife. Let me get my measuring tool out here, and we'll take a look at it at the size wise. Be helpful if I put the ruler the correct way. All right, so from a blade length standpoint, I'm showing about 4 inches on the blade length, and a little bit over 9 1/4 on the overall length. So this is not a small knife by any means. Let's grab the scale here and take a look at what we're looking at for weight. Get everything tared out. All right. So we're looking at a weight of about 5.25 ounces, which is prohibitive for some. I usually carry multiple knives, so it doesn't really bother me a whole lot. But it is over that 5-ounce mark. All right, let's go ahead and let's do some size comparisons. We've done the specs on this knife, and let me get my measuring utensil out of the way here. Let's go ahead and do some size comparisons. And I've been asked to limit this, so I've tried to pare it down a little bit and not have quite as many knives that I do the comparison with. However, here you go with the Spyderco, the Kaiser Militao and the Berg Blade Sweeney. We'll get those out of the way. Let's go with the Tactile Chupacabra and the North Arm Sky High. You can kind of see, most everything that I'm going to have out today is going to be smaller than the Yojumbo. All right, let's do the QSP Penguin and the CGRB Pyrite. So there you go with a comparison there. Let's do the Kaiser Sparrow. And let's also do a Demco Shark Cup. Let's do the CJRB Feldspar and the Petrified Fish Mini Beluga. Let's do the Vastid RS Chaos with a Wharncliffe blade, as well as the American Blade Works Model 1 Wharncliffe. So there's some similar blade shapes. And let's do the Miguron Moriel and the Vosteed Hedgehog. Leave a comment down below if there's a particular knife that that you don't enjoy seeing the comparisons with, and I'll see if I can't remove those from the lineup. That's Eutectic EFD, Everyday Field Duty, and the Eutectic Binary. The Binary should be coming out in coming weeks. All right. Let's look at the thickness. Well, nope, not quite yet. Not quite yet. We still have the Microtech MSI and the Kaiser Cyberblade. And as you can tell, this Cyberblade is still smaller than the Spyderco Yojumbo. All right, let's get a couple of large knives that I have that have come in on loan from Mr. Eddie. That's the Hoback Husky. So that's kind of a similar one. And then this is the PMP Grizzly. So, oops, got my elbow there. There's some size comparisons of some knives that are pretty large. All right. Okay. That'll be enough of the size comparisons as far as that. Let's do the profile now. And again, this is a compression lock knife. So against something like the QSP Penguin, you can tell that the Spyderco is going to be much larger in pocket than that. There's the Pyrite. So those are two. Let's look at something a little bit bigger, like the American Blade Works Model 1 or the Microtech MSI. All right. I believe that'll do it because we know that's a big knife. However, let's look at thickness. This is against the Yojumbo. So the Yojumbo, and that's pretty much the same thickness. So same for the Microjumbo. They're pretty much the same thickness. So keep that in mind. Here it is with the QSP Penguin. So it's not very thick. Here's the Pyrite. The Pyrite's a little bit thinner. So that'll give you an idea of the thickness of the knife. It is not overly thick. Blade steel, CPM S30V. So good blade steel. Just looking at some of the other billboarding on the blade, you've got the Spyderco logo there, maker's mark, and then the designer's mark, and then Golden, Colorado, USA. So it's USA made knife, and then of course you're going to have the Spyderco logo on the clip. No lanyard hole on this or any of the other Microjumbo or the Yojumbo. Jimping is not something that's on these knives either. Although I will say that it locks in just fine, and it doesn't feel like jimping would be necessary. The blade stock is pretty thick here, and it's comfortable to have your hand on here, or even in a grip like this. So I wouldn't say that jimping was necessarily something that was needed. The clip's just fine. It's the typical Spyderco clip. You can get aftermarket clips, I'm pretty sure, for this particular knife. Slides in and out of pocket really well. No complaints there. The texture on the scales is somewhat rough. If you can kind of hear. So it's pretty rough, and I assume I didn't carry it in my pants long enough to, or so many times that I noticed that it was wearing the pants. But I would assume that if you carried this knife every day, that would be the case. So just keep that in mind. But it definitely locks the knife in. It doesn't feel like it's going to go anywhere. All right, opening methods would be reverse flick, of course. You can also use the thumb hole, and that kind of nub there kind of blocks the lock access for doing this, but you can still do it. So, and again, access to the lock bar just fine, much like a lot of the other Spyderco knives. It's just a matter of pinching this and then getting your finger out of the way before this part of the blade comes around. And with a little practice, it's not hard to do. So it is a little bit more difficult with your hand at a weird angle up under the camera, but you see how that went. So, all right, detent's just fine. It is running on the phosphor bronze washers. No problem at all. No blade play. Lockup is just fine. It does have this dark finish, and I think it's DLC coating. If that's not correct, then I'll throw that up on the screen. But it's has great action. The knife, the blade is heavy enough that it just falls shut, especially with the compression lock taking any tension off the blade, and it closes with authority. All right, and it is G10 scale material, although again it's got some texture to it. All right, my thoughts on this knife. Again, you feel pretty confident with this knife in pocket. It can perform everyday tasks, and if you needed to stab a Amazon box to open it up, it would do that as well. It's comfortable in any number of grips, and I believe that's why the handle was designed the way it was, to be comfortable in a number of grips that would be for everyday use as well as other uses. So not a problem at all. Would this be a knife that I would tend to carry? Probably not. It is rather large. It takes up a lot of real estate in pocket, and it does have a very aggressive texture on the scales. That being said, there are aftermarket scales. I've seen some different ones that look really good. As I mentioned, there's aftermarket clips. Just for a lot of Spyderco knives, there's aftermarket hardware that and scales and clips and everything else that allow you to customize it to your own wishes. So there's that. Again, for me, it carried just fine. I don't dislike the knife, but again, it's probably not one that I would carry on a regular basis. It's definitely not one that you would want to pull out in front of folks that aren't comfortable around knives. Like I mentioned, it is a very large knife. As you can see, it's a good sized knife. So I tend to think that to me this is just about a perfect size for the Yojumbo, not necessarily the Yojumbo. But if you like larger knives, if you don't have any problem carrying larger knives, and you're in an environment where it's not frowned upon, that might be a knife that you would enjoy. So there you have it. Hope those that are still watching enjoyed the video. Please leave a comment to let me know your thoughts on the process, how I might improve, all of that kind of good stuff. And again, I try to respond to all of the comments that are that are left. I am a little bit behind trying to catch up with that, and I appreciate those that have left the comments to make it to where I'm having to try to catch up. So appreciate that. Hit that like button if you would, if you enjoyed it, and subscribe if you haven't already done so. And hopefully we will see you again soon. Hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for watching.